the Agile brand.
Welcome everybody, this is Paul Foley and you're listening to Bulk Exchanges, where we explore the human stories behind heavy civil construction and technology. Along with my co-host Rachel Mahoney, we will be introducing guests from all areas of our trillion-dollar industry, from the legends that shaped modern infrastructure to the next generation who will revolutionize it. We will discuss ideas, opportunities, and strategies for what's next. Hey, we are back with our latest episode of Bulk Exchanges. Hey there, Rachel, you're back on this side of the pond?
Yeah, it's good to be back here in the States, back in California, and especially for this upcoming episode. As you know, we met Emily Cohen, Vice President at United Contractors, way back in the summer at their annual picnic. It's an awesome event, tons of folks, lots of fun to be had. But you could tell within a couple of seconds of meeting her that she was a perfect guest to have. She's so articulate and passionate and authentic. And so it's fair to say, I think, that you and I have been looking forward to this for quite some time.
Yeah, absolutely. Here at Bulk Exchange, we're focused on connecting demand with supply in this industry. So I'm delighted to have a guest like Emily, who's at the helm of United Contractors, which is right up there at the top of the pile when it comes to associations, especially for representing contractors. So Emily Cohen, you are very welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Emily, as we were discussed, we had the good fortune to meet you this summer at the United Contractors picnic. And, you've been a frequent topic of conversation since then. So we're honored that you're here today. I think you have a fascinating background, one that we don't encounter very often in this industry. And although we didn't send this in advance, I'd really love to explain what inspired you to basically apply and become part of this industry through United Contractors. Having some background in some legislative efforts and then to where you are now, I would love if you could share with our listeners kind of what inspired you to do what you do.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for having me. And it was wonderful to see you both at our flagship event, which is our annual barbecue and chili cook-off. I think we had 1,200 people from across the industry there this summer. It's remarkable and one of my favorite industry events. For me, I know that my story for this industry is really unique. Growing up, I did not have a father that was a contractor. I did not have a brother that was a contractor. I did not marry a contractor. For me, this industry was nowhere in my universe. I was a political science major. I went on to be a legislative aide at the California State Capitol. I worked for a brief period of time for the Assembly Appropriations Chairman. And I basically saw a job posting one day for Director of Government Relations for a contractors association. And I had no idea what that was, but I applied well over my skis for the job. I did not think I would get the job. I was stunned when they called me in for an interview. And knowing I wouldn't get the job, I went down there anyway, just kind of chalking it up to good experience. And when the CEO, when Mark Breslin came into the room, he said, "Emily, you are the one person I did not want to interview, but had to meet." And he said, "You are the least qualified person for this job. We've had over 100 applications and you're the least qualified." He said, "Maybe the second least qualified. But when I look at your resume, I notice a theme." He said, "Everything you've ever done, limited as your resume may be, you've risen to the top of." And he said, "Can you tell me why?"
Wow.
I said, I gave a great, very professional response. I said, "I have no idea." And he said, I don't like politics and I don't like politicians and rah, rah, rah. And at this point, I'm like, look, I'm not getting this job. So I just said, I hear from people like you every day. And I'm not an elected official. I'm an overworked, underpaid legislative aide. I can barely pay my own rent. But I hear from people like you every day, people that think you're somehow too good for politics, too good to have a seat at the table above it all. And the truth is, you're not. The truth is, either you have a seat at the table or you don't. And I work for the chairman of the Appropriations Committee, and I've never heard of you or your organization before. How's that working out for you guys? And that's basically how I got the job. He leaned back. He said,
That's a boss move right there. First of all, that was a great question from him, but I love that you started it by humbly saying that you don't know and then following it up with that shellacking. I mean, that's pretty great.
I did it because I had nothing to lose.
It says a lot about you and about Mark, so that's a wonderful story right there.
Yeah, so that's how I became director of government relations, and it's been a long road from there, but I love this industry, and that's what got me here. Some courage, some willingness to kick in the door. Thinking I had nothing to lose helps with courage sometimes, but I've spent 15 years here because I love this industry. I love the people. I believe in this industry, and I really do believe no industry has better people. I love it. I love it every day.
Yeah, I love that. And, the fact that you started with your experience that you are the daughter of or married to, that kind of makes you a unicorn. If you already weren't, just from your resume, which is pretty exceptional. And, one of the things that is very affirming to me, Emily, I get asked a bit because I come from more of a strictly tech background, even though I do have lots of family in the trades and whatnot. I definitely took a different route, and never did I really expect to be back here. And what small relation that I had to the industry was more in general contracting. So, I didn't know a whole lot about the heavy civil industry. And as you'll experience, as you hopefully get to know Paul a little better, he's impossible to say no to. And so as I spent a little time with him.
She had a baptism of fire. I dragged her into it.
I did, but
best way.
I think you're hitting on the same emotion that I felt, which was that there's something so authentic, so passionate, so much tradition, so many exceptional people in this industry. And right after I thought that, and there's not a lot of people that look like you or look like me, and there should be. And so it was not only really intriguing to me from that perspective, but the more that I've spent now working with the industry and the folks in it, and the more committed I am to giving a voice to some folks like you were when you first applied all those years back that don't see themselves here, because I see them here. And so with that, I really want to know how. I'm sure you get inundated with questions about this topic and about bringing women into the industry. Will you tell us what you would like those young women or maybe women that are in a different, job or career that could never see themselves here? What is it that you would like them to hear from someone who's been here for 15 years that would open the door for them to possibly consider this as someplace that they could be and flourish?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a great question, and there's two parts to it. The first is, what would I tell a woman or women about this industry? And the other part of the question that has to be answered is, what do the men in this industry need to realize about why women should be and need to be in this industry? So the first part is, what would I say to women? I would be really honest. I know that when you peek through the window and look into this industry, it looks like it's not for you. It looks like you don't belong here. I would also say this for a lot of men of color as well, and perhaps the LGBTQ community as well. So it's not just women. We have a diversity problem. But, just talking to women, I would acknowledge right out the gate, I know this industry looks like it's not here for you. It looks like it's not for you. It doesn't belong to you. It does. And this is a remarkable industry and a fulfilling industry and an awesome industry and place to build your career if you are creative, if you are a hard worker, if you thrive under pressure and challenging environments, if you have a growth mindset, if you have a somewhat of an entrepreneur spirit, if you are someone that would describe yourself or others describe you as having grit or determination or authenticity, if you love people and you love the work, if you are somebody that would take pride in being able to point to something and say, I built that, then this industry is for you. No matter your gender, no matter your color, no matter your creed, it does not matter. This industry is for you. And you might need to be willing to kick in the door a little bit for yourself. But on the other side of that, there is an awesome career for you and a fulfilling career and a prosperous career. The people in this industry that I know, they love it, but it's like a secret. I think people on the outside too often look in this industry and are like, I don't know what that's about. And they go other places, they choose other careers. And we have to do a better job of selling this industry, how great it is. We have to do a better job of selling it to people of all ages and all communities.
Paul, you share your experience just the other day. This is a theme that comes up in almost every conversation we have lately. It's the messaging problem from the industry. It's the perception versus the reality of what exists here in terms of opportunity.
Yeah, there's a day of reckoning coming fast for this industry. For every 5 folks who retire, only 1 comes in. Less than 10%, I believe, are women in the industry. And, I really like where you're touching on there, Emily, in regards to the image and branding that we all need to work so much harder at. And it's a big goal of ours at Bulk Exchange is how we, entice and recruit and retain, more younger people and more diverse folks into the industry. A story that got told to me the other day is, sometimes a kid might go to their parent and say, hey, I'm going to go work in construction. And the parent might think, oh my God, is it just swinging a pick in a trench? Not that there's anything wrong with that. I spent a good part of my life doing that, but there's such a broad spectrum of opportunity in this industry. And it's something at Bulk Exchange we're very proud to be working towards, because what we bring is an empowerment tool, this information that, traditionally was often held on to by a few, to be able to put that out there to entice and bring in more folks to the industry. So I'm really liking that that's obviously such a passion for you as well, Emily.
To your point, it doesn't matter your background, where you come from, your education level, no matter how high it may be or not. There is a place and a space for you in this industry. And I live in San Francisco. I know a lot of attorneys. I know a lot of people in the tech industry, in finance, in all kinds of sort of sexy careers. And many, many of them don't love it. And they don't even know about the construction industry.
Mm-hmm.
It's not speaking to them. They're not aware of it. And that is an us problem. We have to solve that. When I talk about bringing more women into this industry, it's not for charitable reasons. It's not because it's the right thing to do, which it is. It's not because women are equally as talented as men, which they are. It's not for any righteous reason. It's because this industry needs women, period. Women are half the talent pool, and we have a serious talent shortage plaguing the industry. You cannot talk about the talent shortage without talking about your strategy or our strategy for bringing women into this industry. They are not separate issues. So we have to find a new way forward. It's that simple. It's the old, what got us here won't get us there. And to your point, Paul, we have a tsunami of retirements that are beginning right now, not tomorrow, right now, from the field to the C-suite. And there is no backup plan here. For every 5, and you're correct, for every 5 going out, we have 1 at best coming in.
And there's already a shortage, and that's just going to accelerate so much more. And we have events coming up at several colleges and schools up there at Chico State, their CIM, Construction Industry Management program, and their construction management program. We're going up for a demonstration event where the students are going to learn how to use bulk exchange to find a dump site, find a quarry, look up products, asphalt, concrete through the platform. So it's it's something that we're very passionate about of bringing better technology. A lot of these younger folks, they don't want to be walking into a dusty office room with fax machines. So it's something that we all got to work at from several angles to meet them where they're at, because how I grew up in this industry and, the whole machismo, all that kind of BS side of things, those days are gone. And that's not what's going to solve the problem. There is some great talent out there. Everything that you just said there, Emily, is spot on. There's great talent out there. This is something we're all working towards to improve the imaging and get these folks in there,
Yeah, I mean, the next generation, this Gen Z, they are the most diverse generation in American history. And there's 69, 70 million Gen Zers out there right now looking for an industry, a career, a place in a space to serve out their purpose. And they want and need different things from a career, and they have different expectations. And it doesn't really matter what you personally think. You have to adapt. You need them. They want community. They want to feel like they are making a difference in the world. They want flexibility. They want diversity. They want to be valued as a person for their work. I want to bang my head against the wall until it bleeds every time I hear a contractor or a labor leader start talking about salary and wages and benefits. And that's what's so great about this industry. That is the past. Mm-hmm. Yes, they will make a good living. Yes, they will have remarkable benefits. Yes, it is a path. It is a pathway to the middle class. It is a pathway to prosperity for many in a non-traditional way. Yes, yes, yes. That is not what will appeal to the younger generation. It's not just that. And the good news is this industry can be and is the things that the next generation wants, or I believe that. If you want to be contributing to your community in a meaningful way, what better industry than construction? When you look at the work that our contractors do and the affiliated firms like yours in the industry, this is work, direct work, serving and building literally and proverbially your communities. This is a place where you can serve out your purpose.
It's so pivotal to any functioning society. Sometimes people ask us, what is, bulk, what are bulk materials? What is infrastructure? I'm like, the moment you step outside your front door, you're walking on pavement, you're walking on concrete. Look to the left, look to the right. There's landscaping, there's, all of that. That's all bulk materials, the infrastructure, the underground, the fiber optics, your internet, everything depends on this wonderful industry. And, I'd love to talk about your own firm there, EHC Content, because I think what we're touching on here is the storytelling. And of course, you're talking to an Irishman right now. So we love storytelling. With your extensive work in content creation there at your own firm, EHC Content, how do you believe storytelling and communication can influence this public perception and attract more talent to this construction industry? How can that storytelling help with the women and underrepresented groups, Emily?
Yeah, when I started EHC Content, I think in 2020, I thought, what is it that I want to do? And it's like, I don't want to be a publicist or public relations. Why was I starting this? I want to be somebody's communications, person. It was storytelling. And that's what I realized I was great at helping people with, that I was great at helping companies with, elected officials, consultants, nonprofits. It's the story you are telling people. Oftentimes, people or companies have a forest and a trees problem. And communication is about making sure that people can see the forest first, that they are holding the same vision that you are holding. And it is about inspiring people, no matter what it is you want to say or do or sell or have. It's about winning people's hearts and minds quickly. So, I've worked with Navy SEALs, I've worked with tech companies, CEOs, nonprofits, elected officials. You have to know the why before you do anything else. One thing I'll talk to elected officials about, for example, is stop talking about climate change for a minute and start talking about pollution. Do you see the difference?
Right.
So you're solving a problem for people, and you need to relate to them as quickly and simply as possible. So I always say, don't tell me what and don't tell me how. Tell me why. It's about relating to people. Our industry has a problem with this, and we need to get better at the why and relating to people and reminding them and showing them how great this industry is and the important work that's done every day in this industry. It's about relating.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. You said it before in one of your earlier answers. This industry is inundated with the what, but not the why. And some of the most successful companies, brands, influencers in our lifetime were all about the why. And I remember at the time, because they were very early, like Nike, for instance, they didn't talk about their shoe. They talked to you about that perseverance, that getting up in the morning to do it anyway, no matter how out of shape you were or how old you were, if you were going anywhere. It wasn't about what you put on your foot. It was about the experience of what got you up in the morning. And it was so revolutionary. I remember seeing that and just being gobsmacked by that. But you nailed it. They only cared about the why.
Yeah, that's what reaches people. I mean, if you're looking to relate to people, and no matter what it is, that's how you reach them. You talk about why this matters, why we matter, what this is all about. People are way too quick to jump to the how. And it's like, sit with the why first, figure it out and focus on that. And then everything else can come after.
I'd love to talk about wonderful project that you're a part of. Your role with the California High-Speed Rail Authority. You're involved in one of the most ambitious infrastructure projects in the US. Would you be able to share with us some of the insights into the importance of such projects in California's future and how you see them impacting this construction industry overall?
So I was appointed by the Senator Pro Tem, the leader of California State Senate, Tony Atkins at the time, to California's High-Speed Rail Board Authority about 2 years ago, a little under 2 years ago. And when I was asked, I really had to think about, do I want to sit on this board? Do I have anything to offer this board and this project? My time is limited and valuable, like all of ours is. I was also pregnant at the time and hadn't told anybody. So I joined the board with reluctance for my value to it, which is perhaps a woman problem. But I joined it and I am on this board because I believe in this project, challenged as it may be. And I believe that we have to show America and the world that we can still build transformational infrastructure projects in this country. And we, meaning the infrastructure industry and actually the broader building community, is plagued by a world of good intentions gone awry related to regulations and rules and laws that make it hard to build a house, let alone the largest and most ambitious heavy civil infrastructure project in modern American history.
Yeah.
But, 1 in 10 Americans lives in California. We are the hub of this nation in so many ways. And we need to be able to move people quickly. If the technology exists, which it does, California needs and deserves it. And I always ask people, hold the vision of being able to move from Modesto to San Francisco or San Francisco to Los Angeles in just a couple hours. Think about what that would do for your family, for your neighbors, for your communities, for your own career. Think about how much that would improve your life and the lives of people around you. We can do this.
So for our listeners, by the way, that is exactly what she means by the why. You have just explained very persuasively and succinctly something that I think ties people in knots around this project, because you're exactly right. We lost our advantage. It used to be America built and did the most ambitious things, right? We put someone on the moon. And then since then, we've sort of had a sequence of losing ground on those big infrastructure projects as compared to the rest of the world. And so we need this. We need this. And the fact that you were able to, encapsulate the why, I think is great. And frankly, you did it before on talking about why we need more diversity in this industry as well. If I weren't already here, I would be inspired to join. And so, I think you should communicate all day, every day. We're lucky to have you for sure in this industry, being a spokesperson and an evangelist for the why that more folks should consider it. And so that kind of brings me to another thing that I'm really curious about, and I'm going to get a little personal. I don't usually do this on these podcasts, but something you said really resonated to me, and more importantly, and hopefully you can relate as a mom. I have a son who's gay, and I know you do more than just talk about our need to include others, right? You're a part of the Glide Foundation here, which is great. I would love to hear more about that. So you live it in multiple ways. This isn't just lip service, which I think a lot of chatter in this industry around being more open is just superficial, right? They'll put out a post, they'll have a small message here and there when it's required, but really doing the work to make it a safe and welcoming place for the others, if you will, is something that I think could use a lot of work. And so for me, my son has a father who is a vice president of pre-construction. So by all rights, this should have been something that at some point in his life, he certainly at least had an interest to. But I think spending time around a lot of events and things in the industry, even our company being members of United Contractors for over 30 years, I don't think he ever did feel welcome. And I would love for you to talk to the listeners about how you, in your position, beyond just talking about it, are able to bring someone like United Contractors on board, which associations are so important to this industry, to put the action behind the sentiment, to make it a place that not only is welcoming, but that you are intentionally looking for those folks to open a door for them to be a part of this industry.
Yeah. Well, first, thank you for sharing that. And yes, this industry has a talent shortage, a huge, looming talent shortage that will bring us to our knees if we don't find a new way forward.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about women. It's about this remarkable hiring in their own image that so many companies have done and continue to do. And they have to be courageous in hiring people that don't look like them or sound like them or come from the traditional construction tribe. You know, it took courage for me to join this industry. And it has taken courage for me to tolerate a lot of the bullshit that I have had to put up with over the last 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I always take note of how few, if any, gay men in particular, are in this industry. And by the way, of course, they're in this industry, but they clearly don't feel comfortable coming out in so many ways. And then, of course, if your son is gay, he's looking at this industry, he was raised around this industry, and he's still thinking, yeah, that's not for me. And he's not wrong. And that's not his problem. It's our problem. Your son will go find a great career for himself. We're the ones that are losing him. It's our problem.
You know, and Emily, you said something else, and thank you for that, because I do feel that as well. It's something that, I do this every day. I'm passionate about what I do. I would love for him to see himself in that experience more, and more people like him. And I think as a woman or as a member of the LGBTQ community, I think that what we are missing most is what it takes to not only succeed here, but truly be exceptional in this industry are a lot of the things that are built out of their lived experience. So that grit, that resilience, that need to always fight a little harder for their place at the table is exactly what would benefit the industry most. And I know you've touched on that a couple of times, but I think that's something that really, really resonates with me. And I hope the people listening and the companies that are in a position to, consider where they find their next Emily Cohen.
That's such a good point. When I came into this industry, if we go all the way back to the beginning here, I was completely underqualified. I didn't look like the people in this industry. I was 24 years old and a female. I was underqualified for sure. But the CEO took a chance on me. Here's the other thing he did that mattered above all else. He empowered me.
Yeah.
He told me, from here on out, when you go out into the world for United Contractors, when you go into a meeting, when you go to a dinner, when you go into the boardroom, you're going to be the only woman. Speak up in the first 15 minutes, because if you don't, they'll ask you to start taking the notes. That's what he told me.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I have your back. I have your back. You don't have to put up with any bullshit. That was what got me into this job, was me being courageous, right? And being a smart ass. And he went like, all right, well, here, this is interesting. Let's try this.
Well, we do love that in this industry. There is
We
smart
do
assery
love that.
I
know. It's been a good home for me in that way. But what kept me here was knowing that I had a boss that had my back. If you are a woman, a person of color, if you are a gay man or woman, you need to know that people have your back, that your boss has your back. Otherwise, it takes too much courage. That's what I think. It shouldn't take courage. That's the truth. It shouldn't take courage to make it in this industry. Because if you're a white man, you don't need courage, a straight white man. All it should take is talent and grit and determination, right? It shouldn't take courage. And if we continue to require people to be courageous to make it in this industry, we're going to continue to lose huge amounts of talent opportunities. So it is our time to be courageous. It is time for the CEOs of construction companies and their leadership teams and their recruitment teams to be courageous. It's time for them to kick in the doors for new talent, for more diverse talent, and to show up in a different way.
Yeah, so well said. It has to come from there. So, and everything that you're saying just ties in with the. We could talk for hours with you here, Emily. But everything that you're touching on is a question that Rachel and I put to our guests on every podcast. We share the belief that grit is an important quality in those that we most admire, and there's so much to admire about your story and everything that you're telling there, Emily. Undoubtedly, it's taken grit for you to have achieved your level of success and influence. What does grit mean to you? And, what role does it play in achieving your goals? And, how would you portray that messaging to others? The grit that you've had, and for others, to come in and succeed in this industry.
Well, I love the word grit. And when I think about it, it's such a great fit for this industry and so many of the people in this industry that rise in the ranks. And I agree with you. When I think about grit, I think it's resilience, it's determination, it's authenticity. So I think it meets at the crossroads of those three things: resilience, determination, and authenticity. And this industry benefits from it, and we can never have too much of it.
Awesome. Well, this industry benefits from having people like you around. So, Emily Cohen, thanks very much for coming on the show, and we look forward to staying in touch with you.
Yeah, thank you both so much for having me.
On behalf of myself and Rachel, we want to thank our guests and listeners for joining us on another episode of Bulk Exchanges, where industry meets infrastructure and shapes great conversations. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and also find us at bulkexchange.com and on socials at Bulk Exchange. And remember, until next time, keep building, listening, and learning.
The Agile brand.